If you're thinking about buying a house in Orange County, I want you to stop before you open Zillow again. Here's what the biggest mistake I see Orange County buyers make. Over and over, they start with Zillow, they start with home tours, they fall in love with the kitchen island before they even know what they can actually afford, what the market's really doing, or what it takes to write an offer that the seller will actually accept. That's all backwards. And by the end of this video, you're going to know what to expect exactly in order it should go in. So stick around. Hey, I'm Trevor Wilson. I'm a realtor here in Orange County. My goal here is simple. Make real estate actually make sense so you can make smart decisions without someone in a blazer pressuring you into it. No fluff, no sales pitch, just what you actually need to know. So let's dive into it. First, you're going to need to know your comfortable payment and not just your maximum approval. So first thing, and I mean very first, before you even think about neighborhoods, you need to know your comfortable payment, not your maximum pre-approved payment. Those are two very different numbers. And confusing them is how people end up house rich and life poor. So here's everything that actually goes into that monthly number. First, you have your mortgage payment itself. Then you have to account for property taxes. And in Orange County, it's not just a rounding error. Then you have your homeowner's insurance, your HOA dues, if you live in a community that actually has them. You have to account for utilities and maintenance because houses, let's be real, are just money pits with good lighting. And what's left over after closing, so you're not just eating ramen for 6 months to make your first house payment. And here's the line that I want you to actually remember, so listen close. Being approved for a certain amount does not automatically mean that you should spend that amount. The bank will approve you for what you can technically pay back, but they're not going to ask you questions like if you'd still like to go on vacation or have a social life. That part is on you for budgeting. Next, we have your second step. So getting properly approved before you tour seriously, and yes, seriously is emphasized there. The second step, get properly approved before you start touring homes seriously. Not just pre-qualified off a 5-minute phone call, actually go get pre-approved. This is where you will actually nail down all of the essentials with your loan officer. So here's a list of the things. You got your realistic purchasing range, your estimated monthly payment, the actual cash you'll need to close because it's more than just a down payment, your credit and debt and income situation, and any red flags that need fixing before you're submitting offers, not after. Because here's the nightmare scenario, and trust me, I've seen it before. You don't want to find the perfect house on Saturday and discover on Monday that your financing is not in order or not ready. That's not a plot twist that you want in your home buying journey. Get this part boring and buttoned up early, so the exciting part later actually gets to be exciting. Okay, now number 3, you want to choose your lifestyle before you choose the home. Now your money should be handled or at least kind of mapped out. The next question, and this one is underrated, what lifestyle are you actually buying into? Because a home isn't just a structure, it's a decision about how your daily life is going to feel. So think through a few of these items. You have to remember you have your commute, your walkability versus privacy, a newer home versus an established tree-lined neighborhood, how much HOA involvement you can actually tolerate. Would you like a condo, a townhome, or a detached house? Space versus proximity to the coast, because here you can't genuinely have both. And by the way, this is very, very Orange County specific. 2 homes with similar prices can offer completely different lifestyles depending on the city and the neighborhood. On one hand, you could have a $1.2 million home in one zip code that might get you a quiet cul-de-sac and a 2-car garage. And on the other hand, you have a $1.2 million home 3 cities over that might get you a similar house and a much longer relationship with your car horn. So know your non-negotiables versus your nice 2 halves before you fall for the listing photos. Number 4, the listing price is not always the entire story. Let's talk about the number on the listing, right? The purchase price, the listing price. Because a lot of buyers treat it like it's a gospel, and it's not. What actually determines the value are a few different things, right? You have your comparable sales in the area, the condition of the home, the location, obviously, how much competition there is for it, days on market, the seller's motivation, and the terms of the other buyers that might be offering, right? So the list price is part of the actual marketing strategy. It's not always a perfect reflection on what the home is worth or what it will actually sell for. Sometimes it's priced low on purpose to spark a bidding war. And then sometimes, on the other hand, it could be priced high because the seller is optimistic. By optimistic, I mean delusional. Either way, the number in the listing is a starting point for a conversation, not just the final say all be all. Number 5, a strong offer is more than just the price. This one actually surprises a lot of people when I speak to my clients about it. A lot of buyers think that the highest number is always going to win in negotiations, but that's not always true. What actually makes an offer strong are a few items which I'll list right now. So we have the financing strength, the deposit, contingencies, and how many you're asking for, your closing timeline, what the seller actually needs, which isn't always more money, how certain is it that the deal is actually going to close, and honestly, how well the offer is communicated and presented. The highest offer is not always the strongest offer. Sellers care about the likelihood of the deal actually closing because they want to get their money. A seller would rather take a slightly lower offer from someone who's clearly going to close without any drama, rather than a slightly higher offer from someone who might fall apart 2 weeks before the finish line. Sellers have been burned before. Don't be the offer that makes them nervous. 6, look past the finishes during the showings. When you're actually touring, seriously, here's what I want you to train your eye to look at beyond just the staging, because staging is designed to literally distract you. That's it. That's its whole job. Pay attention to the things that you can't really change. The street and the neighborhood itself, the traffic and noise, the natural light, the floor plan, the deferred maintenance, the roof, windows and major systems, the HOA conditions and restrictions, parking and storage, any insurance concerns, and people forget about the resale appeal because someday you'll be selling the home as well. Paint can be changed. A bad location, an awkward floor plan, or consistent road noise usually cannot. Nobody's ever regretted the paint color enough to move. Plenty of people have regretted buying next to a busy intersection. Number 7, I want to go over a real client story. So let me give you a real example because I think it'll land better than me just talking to you for 8 minutes straight. So I have a client out in Chicago and he wants to move down to California. He called me, he said, Trevor, I heard you're the man. I want to buy a house down there. So I want to help walk you through how I was able to better assist him. Better than ChatGPT was able to, I'll say that. What he was doing was he was ChatGPTing, saying all these things. This is what I like, this is what I want, blah, blah, blah. And he thought that he knew what he wanted. Then I got on the phone with him. Our first phone call was about 45 minutes long during our buyer strategy session. What we went over, a big portion, was he was really big into the lifestyle that he wanted. He didn't care about the house. Very easygoing guy. He's like, 1,400, 2,000 square feet, super easy guy. But he really likes pickleball. He really likes being active in the community. He wants to make friends. He wants to go biking. He wants all these things. When he came down for a couple of weeks to start the search, what I did for him was instead of taking him just to go show him homes, I took him out to go to the parks. I took him to the pickleball courts. I took him out to the biking trails and biking shops. I took him to the amenities and a whole bunch of other things. And then I did that in numerous cities. We finally figured out a radius, right? And then when he was like, Trevor, this is the radius I want because I think that it has everything I need, I said, perfect. And then guess what? We started going out and actually looking at homes. And honestly, this is part of the job that I actually care most about because the win isn't just getting him into a home and collecting a check. The win is helping him avoid buying the wrong one and calling me in 5 months saying, Trevor, I hate you and I hate this house. The truth is anybody can get you a house. My job is to make sure that you get the right one. final takeaways that I want to share with you is before you go tour homes this weekend, know your real comfortable payment. Get your financing actually prepared, not just kind of prepared. Understand the lifestyle you're buying into, not just the square footage, and have an actual strategy for evaluating both the property and the offer. I'll say this as straightforward as I can. I'm not here to convince you or anybody else to buy a home. I'm here to help you understand the process well enough to decide what's actually right for you. And if the answer is not yet, that's totally fine too. That's how 99% of people are. If you're thinking about buying a home in Orange County, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'm breaking down neighborhoods, negotiations, and real deals and all the parts of the process that most people never explain. So on my next episode, I will be explaining how we write strong offers without having to write in a higher number for the list price. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, because if you have that question, I'm sure there's other buyers and sellers that have the same one, and I'll go over it in another video. I appreciate your guys' time and listening. Remember, just like always, Trevor out.